Hello, folks. This is Brian Hansen. I'm here with Francis Ablola, and we have a special guest, Dan Gronsbell with Send. We're very lucky to have him on the call today. Send is a wide-known resource for Internet marketers. Most of the top-level companies are using Send, and it's a really exciting tool. I can't wait for him to tell you about it. We were amazed the first time we were able to talk to Dan and him telling us about all the opportunities and ways we can use this tool. I guess I'll get right into it. We've got Dan on the call here. Dan's going to kind of go over what Send is, how you can use it for your business, and how it can help bring in more customers to your business as well. And we're actually going to jump in. Dan has agreed to jump in and do a quick demo for us, showing us how easy it is to actually get this set up and start using Send with your business. Dan?
Thank you, Brian. I appreciate it. My name is Dan Gronsbell. I'm one of the co-owners of Social Media Science. Send is one of our divisions, and it's been the best in search content distribution system through top SEOs for the last 2 years. We're very proud of that distinction, and Send just continues to become a more vitally important resource in every Internet marketer's arsenal. As many people are aware, there are just constant changes and evolutions, both through social as well as through search. A lot of people have been impacted, both positive and negative, by what's taken place with the recent Google Panda and Penguin updates. Send members were not affected, and in fact, actually, many of them have commented that they have seen a dramatic improvement, and that simply is just another point of recognition that Send is really a very good tool in the right place at the right time. So just a little bit of background, I guess, on Send itself and why it's important. Social has taken on a number of different facets to it, and a lot of times people just, typically gravitate toward a social network or two, let's say Facebook and Twitter. But the truth is that there are a lot of different social sites out there, and they fit really a variety of different platforms. You have those that are more commonplace, such as Facebook and Twitter. But there are a lot of others, such as social news sites like Dig, Reddit, and StumbleUpon, bookmarking sites like Delicious, and others where people spend time. And Send allows you to be able to tap into that without having to do it manually. We've developed a system that incorporates natural, real humans, fellow marketers, along with automation. And we've brought the two together into a truly dynamic system that can automate your distribution of your content, and it helps spur natural recommendations by other people who review, curate, and recommend content through the Send community. As of the time, at least, of this viewing, more than 30,000 people located across the globe who all use Send and use it well, and we really covered just about every single niche that you can imagine. Okay. Everything from the most competitive, like credit cards, all the way down through your local business in your local town.
Can I just jump in there real quick, Dan?
Sure.
I just want everybody on the call to understand exactly what Dan just said, because there's a lot of different options out there and ways to get social signals to your site. And I think everybody's familiar with Facebook and Google Plus and Twitter, and all of these things are so important these days to get your site ranked in the search engines and to get more traffic. It's the new wave and the direction of the Internet. But what's Dan saying is their community is a real community. This isn't some robot out there giving you fake accounts, and really those types of tactics can actually get you penalized. This is a real community where you can actually get customers. You're going to have people, there's over 30,000 people that they have in the Send system of people that may be interested in what you have. So this is actually real people, which is extremely important, because there's a lot of different options out there to choose from. But what you're going to notice is there's not a lot of options. This is an option where you can actually get real people instead of just fake accounts that are set up. I just wanted to add that in there because there's so many people that fall victim to things because of a sales page or a sales pitch, and they buy into these programs that are nothing like Send, and they can actually harm you more than they can help you.
Sure, you're exactly right about that. People who have been doing Internet marketing for a while, many of them have gotten caught flat-footed by recent changes of Google's crackdowns related to forced linking. And the truth is that social now, we're starting to see, or have been seeing for a while, a lot of systems that claim this, that, and the other. You know, they're going to get you X amount in X amount of time, and it only costs a couple of nickels. And you've got to be cautious of that. Most of those systems are all going to be functioning the same way. And this is actually something that was a major driver in SIN winning the top industry award. All of those systems are going to be working primarily through proxy servers, meaning that they're going to be trying to carry out a lot of social actions, all coming from one or a very limited number of IP addresses. And this leaves a major footprint behind. So when you're deciding on trying to help build your social influence or social popularity, which is critical, you've got to be very, very wary of that. You want to be able to do it in a way that's natural. Now, what SIND is actually doing is, you know, it's not intended to be only by itself standalone. You need to have quality content. You need to be marketing your business or any other type of organization you're involved with in a quality manner. Your goal is to be an authority in your subject matter, your niche, your area of specialty, and that means to focus on quality. Now, what SIN is intended to do is it's intended to get your content more visible across the web through its distribution, which means that the search engines and the social networks themselves, who all look at widespread appeal favorably, are going to benefit you more than somebody who hasn't done it. The second thing is that SIND also delivers natural, real recommendations from fellow community members, not through a forced medium, but rather that people who are there reviewing, curating, and recommending content will come across every single member's content through the community, which means that you're going to be having an instant audience on all of your content right out of the gate. So SIND really acts as more of a social rocket booster, but it's not going to be a replacement for still doing things right. But you get a great head start, both from the perspective of SEO, from the perspective of social proof, which occurs by having counter widgets on your site for various social networks, such as likes on Facebook or tweets on Twitter. So the higher those counts, when somebody comes to your site and they're trying to decide, am I in the right place? Is this somebody who I want to do business with? People are using social recommendations by peers as a deciding factor on whether to stay on your site, to buy from you, to give you their contact information, to opt into your email list. Social proof is dramatically important because we trust more about what other people say about you than we do based on what you had to say about you. And that's just natural. If you're going to go and consider doing business with somebody in your local area, usually one of the things people do is they call their parents, their friends, whoever they know, and say, hey, do you know somebody who does X, Y, and Z? And why do we do that? Because we're social creatures. We value the input of other people we know. And social works the same way. So,
exactly. I was just going to point out there was currently a Nielsen rating that 90% of people buy from word of mouth, from friends. Mm-hmm. And while 30,000 people is a ton of people in the system, keep in mind that when they say something about your business, it's going out to the thousands of people they may be friends with. So the reach with this is incredible. And something could even go viral where one person liking it could just get all over the place.
Right. And I would definitely recommend, too, I mean, we have a two-page PDF right here at the top of the site. It's a quick read, but it gives you a pretty good overview of the value of what we call social signals, which is really just a fancy way of saying likes, tweets, votes, digs, whatever's applicable on a social network. But collectively, those are signals socially as to what is popular, what's relevant, what somebody should value. So the bottom line is that if you're marketing on the web, this is something that you've got to have. And I don't just mean SIND specifically, although I think SIND is a fantastic tool. You've got to get involved and not be scared about what the power of social can do for you. Is there a learning curve? A little bit. But the truth is that actually SIND makes it really easy because even if you don't have a lot of time to be out doing anything on a social network, although you should definitely look at that, learn from it, and consider doing that because eventually it's just going to continue to become more important. It needs to be a central part of your business. But if you're really looking to get going, or you're already out there and you're really just looking for a boost in improving in your visibility of your business and your content, trying to increase more of your social popularity, Send can do that in a very simplified fashion at a very cost-effective price. And in fact, we actually have, as you can see here at the bottom of the screen, there are really 4 different levels to meet anybody's budget and anybody's need. One of the beauties of the way that we design Send is that it really becomes a system where it can be incremental to the nature of your business. If you're in a really competitive space and you need more promotional firepower in order to improve your ranking and really jumpstart or leap ahead on search engines like Google, Send is totally scalable, and you can do that. If you just have a blog and you're trying to help draw more people in, grow an opt-in list, you can possibly do something that's on the lower end. So it really just depends on what you really need. And within the support desk, we can certainly help you better determine what level would be right for you. And in fact, we even have a light level which is free for as long as you want to use it. It doesn't allow you to use all of the modules in Send, but it is free, and it's possibly a good way to get started. Now, Lite and Pro are going to be those 2 systems that allow you to do the campaign setups yourself. And let me explain a little bit about what that means. That means that as you're setting up your content within the Send system, that you need to at least be familiar, or you're going to at least have to go through a learning curve of setting up your own campaigns. So if you have a URL that you're looking to promote, let's say it's for a blog post or a video on YouTube, then you're going to need to set up titles, descriptions, tag sets for each URL that you want to promote. And we do that because since we cover so many different social sites, you want to make sure that you don't have an issue with duplicate content out on the web, which is a major no-no. So you don't want Google coming around going, all right, they've just decided to put the same boring piece of content in 50 different places hoping that it'll stick. What we do is we take that content, we enable you to do what they call spinning, which means that you set up your, let's say, your title. So this could be, this is a fantastic video on picking the best automotive shop in Miami, Florida, let's say. Well, we allow you to go in and be able to spin that where you set up different variations of the same thought, and when the content is actually distributed, it'll take those variations. So that way you have some variation when it's actually out on the net. So both of those 2 systems will require you to get in there and learn how to do this if you don't know how to do it already. Enterprise is the system that allows us to basically handle that for you. So I'll go through a demo in a minute, but if you're busy with a business, you don't want to start trying to figure out how to do all of this, but you still want to do it right, Enterprise is not that much more money, but it'll allow you to go in, provide us with just a limited amount of information. We take that, we do all the grunt work, and we get that set up and launched onto each site where your content will be distributed. The elite level, which is the last one on the list, is really meant for those who either service a lot of clients, for example, and they want to create kind of their own white label version, so they can put their own logo on it, and it's something exclusive that they can offer to their clients. You can certainly do that through the elite level. It also works if you've got, let's say you're heavy into blogging and you have many sites and you're wanting to create a system that will allow you to instantly upload that content into Send without having to do a whole lot of things manually. Well, you'll have the API code in order to be able to build it. So those are the 4 different ranges that we have for Send. And it's a great tool because it, again, allows you to accomplish a lot of different things through one easy-to-use system, and in all cases really just requires a fairly small learning curve. And we have people in there who have been doing this for years, or people who have been doing this only for a matter of weeks. So anybody can do it, and it's not too painful on the wallet, and it's fully scalable.
Well,
so,
you just brought up a good point, Dan, and I know that a lot of people on the call are lazy marketers like Francis and I, and I'm sure that most of your interest is going to be in your enterprise, although I know we've got some high-level people that are probably going to jump for elite. But most of us, we like to do as little as possible. And, you know, when you hear enterprise, especially with a lot of the SEO and companies out there that try to get you traffic and rank you in the search engines, I'm assuming everybody listening right now is probably thinking this is going to cost me $3,000 to $5,000 a month. I think what's incredible about Send is you can get all this stuff done at an extremely low price. Do you want to tell everybody what your prices are?
Sure. So again, I mentioned that Lite is free. You'll be able to use several of the modules within Send, but you won't be able to use things such as blog commenting, which is one of the modules. You won't be able to use Facebook. And you have a little smaller amount of promotions that can occur and the amount of content you can syndicate through it at any one time. It's really meant as a good system if you're just trying to kind of get in, get your feet wet. That is an option. Pro starts at only $47 a month. With that, you get 15,000 credits. Credits are basically the currency of the system. So if you're looking for, let's say, to get 100 Facebook likes on a piece of content, which means that when you submit your content into the Send network, that you set a limit to say, I want my content circulated and seen until such case that enough people think it's of value and have recommended it up to that 100, and then it stops. So to get 100 likes, each like is worth 20 credits. For bookmarks, tweets, social news votes are 8 credits each. Social news commenting, which means that comments can also be provided on the social news site to add additional discussion and social proof. Those are only 2 credits per word. And then we also have a blog commenting module that has our professional writers who will go out to your content, review it, and provide a comment or as many comments as you wish that helps spur the conversation. We know that on a lot of sites, you know, nobody likes to be the first one to do it, but if we see that others have, we're going to be more likely to engage, and so it's a good primer. So Pro will start at 15,000 credits, and we have packages that go up to well north of 100, and I think it's 145,000 credits, and that's part of a base subscription. You can also buy more what we call one-time credits if you need them. Let's say that you want to syndicate a lot more content in 1 month versus, let's say, the next month. You can buy one-time credits to fill that void. In Enterprise, it starts at $147. So for a comparable Pro package to Enterprise package would be $97, let's say, versus $147. So it's just a $50 difference in price. For that difference in price, we take the content that you provide us, along with just a little bit of information, and we go through and take care of all the titles, the descriptions, the spinning, and getting it launched onto each network. So that starts at $147 a month for 14,000 credits, and we have packages that are used by some Fortune 500 companies that go well in excess of 2 million credits a month. So it can be as big as you need it to be. Elite will work on the same type of credit platform that Enterprise will, where people buy them in larger bulks just to fit their own need on a month-to-month basis. So very affordable, kind of covers the range. You know, for most business owners who are really limited on time, don't want to go through the time to try to figure out the systems, you know, Enterprise tends to be a natural gravitation point. So if you are very advanced or at least moderately advanced, or you have a lot of time and you know are okay to invest the time to learn how to use it, Pro credits are less expensive than Enterprise. It just comes down to the value of your time and a little bit of the learning curve. But nothing can't be learned. So that pretty much covers the gamut on the price.
Excellent. Very good information. And, you know, value of time is a good thing you pointed out, because according to the SBA, the Small Business Association, everyone's time is valued at $250 an hour when you're running your own business. So
right.
147 is a very small price to pay. And I will tell you, a lot of people starting in internet marketing, they have no clue what Send is. Unless they've heard about it from somebody, and you're getting to jump past all the leaps and hurdles of getting yourself out there by using this tool. This is what the experienced internet marketers that have been around the block for a while know about, and it's in their secret arsenal that they don't tell you about. You know, Francis and I, a lot of the people listening, we hang out with some of the top level internet marketers in the world, and nearly 90% of them are all using SYND. So you need to jump on this and start using this now, and you're going to be working at the level of expert marketer. You can bypass all the time and everything it takes to try to build this stuff manually as well.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, we've got a lot of top marketers that we communicate with, and you know, SYND plays a very unique role because you know most customers typically find your information or at least do research. About 90% of people do research through search engines, and you know you've got to be visible. Otherwise, you know, I think there was a statistic, something like 80% of people don't even go to the second page of Google. I mean, so you really need to be working on a top position placement, and SYND is a great way to fill one of the key aspects of the search engine algorithms. They're going to be looking at links, they're going to be looking at content, they're going to be looking at the keywords you're targeting, but there's a big component that has only grown in value, and that is the social popularity component or social signal component. So, you know, you can pick a level that's right for you based on how competitive your industry is, how much content you have. If you have content that you've completed, let's say, even 6 months ago or a year ago, you can still syndicate it as long as it's relevant. So we get a lot of people who say, you know, I've got 20 pages worth of content that I want to syndicate. You know, can I do that? The answer is absolutely yes. You can always sign up for a larger level for the first month or two, and then after that, if your content volume goes down, then you can step down a level. If you decide that you like it because you're starting to really see movement and an increase in traffic and phone calls, then great. You can stick with that, or what a lot of people do is they scale it with their business. So they go after the key phrases, for example, that they know they can capture that are a little bit lower hanging fruit. They go after those hardcore. That allows them to be able to start getting more money through the door, and then hence obviously move up levels in SYND. So a couple other just quick comments I'll make, and then I guess we can roll into the demo, is that if you have multiple sites, you only need one account. If you have different URLs, I mean, we have some people that run 500 campaigns a month, and we have other people that run 5 or 10. All of that can be done in the same account. If you support multiple clients, you can also still do that through one account. So it's very, very flexible.
Excellent. Well, that was a great overview, and I think you broke it down pretty simple for everybody to understand. And it isn't really a secret that social's the way that everything's turning right now, and it just keeps getting more powerful every year. So jumping in now while you still have a chance at getting in on the rise, you're going to have a major edge on your competitors. Definitely looking forward to getting into the system and showing people the actual inside of SYND and how it operates.
Roll through that. So let me pull up the screen here. Okay. So I've pulled up an enterprise dashboard, which is what you will have when you first log in to SYND. The Pro dashboard and Lite dashboard, basically the same. There's just a few small nuances that are different, but 99% of everything will be the same. So when you're inside the dashboard, it's actually pretty simplistic. The information that's here at the top is going to be your credits, your credit maintenance. And if there is any learning curve to SYND, most of the time it just comes down to credit management. The people who sign up, a lot of times they're like a new kid, a kid getting a new toy. The first thing they want to do is play with it. They open it up, they throw the box away, they throw the instructions away, and they want to jump in. And we can certainly relate to that. But that being said, usually the thing that they need to do is start off slowly for the first few days, get a feel for credit consumption. We do have some metrics in here that can absolutely help you. So I don't want to make it sound like it's overly complicated, because it really isn't. But one of the things that people will do is as they get started, they'll pull up something like a simple Excel spreadsheet, and get an estimate for how much content they have, how many promotions they're looking to get. And again, our support desk can help you if you're not sure what the right amount is. They decide which social sites they would want to publish content to, and that'll tell them how many credits they'll spend on each URL that they want to promote. Once you've gone ahead and you've started to set up campaigns, which we'll walk through in a minute, this little identifier here through a red, yellow, or green square will tell you whether you're consuming about the right amount of credits based on your credit level, whether you have a lot left that you can spend. So you'll see here it's green. This means I got plenty of room. Or if it's red, it means that you're trying to do too much given your current level, and you either want to back down a little bit, maybe pause a few campaigns, or step up credit levels. So if you click on this, it actually pulls up and will show you how many promotions you're trying, how many promotional maximums you have on each social site or each module. So it'll kind of tell you where are you spending credits. So let's say that you go to set up a campaign and you find that this thing turns red. And you go in there and it says, that you're trying to get, 60,000, you're trying to spend 60,000 credits on Facebook likes a day, but you're only on a 15,000 credit level. That'll be a pretty good signal that you need to probably back down a little bit in your promotional maximum levels for the Facebook module inside your campaigns. So it's really not that hard. You'll get the hang of it. We also have an excellent training area that walks you through with full video training. And again, we have a very good support desk. So this will tell you what your minimum credit, your min credits are, which is your daily credit demand or your daily usage. And then this will tell you how many you have available. So very simple concept, supply and demand. So inside the dashboard, we give you updates on things that are coming. So it's a good place to be able to watch that and know where things are. You'll see here we have an upcoming webinar on Google Panda and Penguin. We give a lot back in the way of free education. That's another great advantage. I mentioned that SIND is part of the social media science family. We have market research divisions. We have local businesses. So you're going to get free information that you won't find elsewhere. We do a lot of investigative work, and we test a lot of things. So why don't we just kind of jump in a little bit here. I mean, a few of the things here on the left side navigation, most of the things, you're not going to be using on a daily basis. If you need to buy more credits, open a support ticket, go right to the training. So, those are there if you just want a quick shot, but not a lot to do in there. Campaigns is where you're going to spend most of your time, and we'll walk through that in terms of how to set something up. The credit history just shows how many credits you've been spending, how many credits you've received, just to make sure that everything's working well. Promotional history will allow you to be able to look at how many promotions you've gotten by each social site. Some people use it if they just want to get a sense as to where most of their syndications are taking place. There are a few easier ways to find that out, but we do make that available if you just want to do a broad search. We also offer, through the system, full reporting as well, with about 95% of all the networks even being able to give you analytics down to the URL level. So if somebody was to, let's say, dig your content on Dig, we can actually give you the URL where that dig took place. So it really gets very, very granular, so that way you can, kind of confirm that things are in fact happening. Now, SIND won't actually charge any credits unless a member in SIND has happened to recommend your content. And then in that case, if, let's say, they've decided they want to like it on Facebook, then we charge you the 20 credits in order to have gotten that like. So think of it as we're putting you in a huge audience together, and we charge you a very small cost to automate that process. So let's go ahead and jump into a campaign here. When you start a campaign, it's actually only one way to do it, so it really eliminates error. You'll see here that there are a few other options, and I'm not going to go through extensively on each. We cover a lot of this in the training. But if you wanted to go see, for example, what's happening with your blog commenting campaigns or bookmarking campaigns, you can go do that. If you decided that you wanted to increase the promotional maximums on a specific URL for a bookmarking campaign, you can go directly right here, find the URL, and make that update. If you decide that you want to pause a campaign, you can do that from there as well based on each module. So it's very, very easy. when you go to the campaign setup screen, this is going to show you all of the content that you've currently got set up. And you'll obviously get your date stamp. Over here it'll tell you how many total promotions have taken place. So this would be across all of the modules that SIN supports. So this could be bookmarking, social news, Twitter, Facebook, etc. All of that will be summarized right here. And then this column for status will simply tell you whether the campaign is either active, meaning that it's either in the process of running or it already has, or if it says pending setup, then that either means that our staff hasn't finished setting up the campaign for you if you're doing enterprise, or that it hasn't finished going through quality control. SIND is very different than most other systems because we are focusing on creating a quality content marketing system and quality content marketing community. So we put every single piece of content through a human-based quality control test where the person goes out, they make sure that the content isn't spammy, that it doesn't have issues related to anything illicit or illegal. So you're not just going to be syndicating content through some junky network that promises that other people are going to do things for you. Those are just an instant red flag. So we're going to be focusing on quality. So if you wanted to modify any campaigns, again, we'll focus more on that in the actual training, but you just simply enter in through here on this icon on the right, this little yellow pencil. You go in, you make your quick changes, and you're finished. Very easy. So we were going to walk through the process of actually creating a campaign. So this is the enterprise setup screen. Very, very simplistic and easy to use. So when you go in, you're going to give your campaign a name. So let's just walk through kind of a test case here. So I'll suppose that I'm going to be doing a campaign on the SIN homepage, for example. So I'm going to label this SIN homepage. This is just your own unique identifier in SIN. It doesn't actually get syndicated anywhere. But you may want to use it for filtering, for example, later if you're trying to find a piece of content. Next, I'll go ahead and just input the URL. That's simple. You can actually copy-paste most of these fields, which is recommended anyway from a time-saving perspective. So you could just copy and paste that in. Let's say I gave it a title that said, SIN wins top industry award. The description field here is really just for more miscellaneous items. So let's say, for example, that you're used to doing your own SEO work or supporting clients. And you want to use enterprise because you don't want to have to be spinning content, but at the same time, you still don't want to feel like you're losing control over feeding through the titles and descriptions that you really want to use on your content or your client's content. No problem. You can put that additional information in here. So if you had an additional title, for example, you could put title 2, SIN, beats out the competition with top SEOs, as an example. If you had descriptions that you wanted to give us for your content, you could do that right here and say description. And let's say I had 2 descriptions I wanted to give. I could put description 1 and then right here description 2. Now if you've got a blog, for example, or a video that you've got on YouTube, let's say, because you can also promote content on third-party sites, you could copy and paste that description in here and we'll just spin it for you directly from your blog or from YouTube as one of your descriptions. That's as simple as just a copy-paste. The tags ought to come same place, either let's say from your website or blog post. You would just copy and paste the tags. If you're doing it on YouTube, same thing, just copy-paste. Same things for your keywords, just a copy-paste. Very, very easy. If you're not sure about the difference between keywords and tags and you're just starting out, we cover that in the training area. So just about everything that's in here so far that we've walked through can be as simple as copy and paste with the exception of the campaign name. That takes all of about 5 seconds to type in. Once you've gone ahead and you've actually selected or provided all of the information above, the next thing you're going to do is you're going to tell us what modules you want to run. So let's say I want to set up a piece of content, and I'm going to use bookmarking, Twitter, which is the same thing as microblogging, and Facebook. Now, you'll notice I didn't pick social news. Social news is very specific, and it's meant for content that is informative, educational, humorous, anything that's not salesy. And just as a general rule, the best content on what we call the social web, which is really what we have gotten to now, is stuff that is not trying to push products. It's better to be helpful and informative and then lead them into a product once you've built up that trust, that loyalty. So in this case, if I was doing the SIN homepage, well, it's a homepage of a business. It's going to be a little bit more promotional, so social news wouldn't be an option for me. We cover that all in the training. We give you an overview of each module. So if I was going to run each of these, let's say I wanted to put the maximum at 137 bookmarks, and then the daily max is an additional regulator that allows you to reduce the aggressiveness of how fast things take place. So let's say, for example, that you're starting off, you haven't had a lot of social popularity built, you're really getting going. Even if it's a site that has been around a while, you might want to start off a little bit less and kind of drip feed this out a little bit more. And here's why. Because SIND is made up of a human-based community, but Google's algorithm is still a robot. So you need to be somewhat conscious and always put your cap on that thinks, what would a search engine think of what I'm doing? I want to build popularity, but I also need to recognize that I haven't built a lot so far. I need to kind of get my feet wet, send them a signal that, hey, my site's growing in popularity, or my video on YouTube is starting to grow in popularity. And you can always come back in later and increase this, or increase the total maximum, which means that if I have 137, I'm going to get no more than approximately 137 bookmarks. It doesn't mean that that's going to be exactly what you're going to get, but you want to be able to kind of manage your credits a bit. So if I said, you know, I'm starting out, I only want to get 8 bookmarks a day, and that's all I want to get, then you can do that. And you put in 8 as being your maximum. And what will happen is that when your content goes through the SIND community, as soon as it hits 8, let's say, in a given day, then SIND is going to remove that piece of content out from the circulation area, and then the next day it's going to put it back in. So that way it's going to regulate it through the network. So as you can see here, you're just going to follow the same process with the rest. So let's say I want to get 69 tweets in total, and maybe I want to limit that to, let's say, 11 a day. So I think you're getting the picture here. Facebook, you know, basically same process. This is actually going to be done a little differently. That module is a little bit more complex behind the scenes. But let's say I want to make my maximum no more than, let's say, 20 likes and or 22 likes, and my daily maximum I'm going to put at, let's say, 5. Now, a couple of comments here, and then we'll hit save and we'll move on, is the idea behind this, as I mentioned, is to keep your hat on around, you know, what would a search engine think of my content and my promotions that I'm getting. You don't want to always end everything in a 0. You don't want to end everything in a 5. You really want to mix it up. You want this to be as naturally free-flowing as possible, because no single piece of content gets the exact same amount of promotion, certainly on each site or each network, and not in total for each piece of content. Some content is going to be more popular, some a little bit less. So with SIN, you're able to regulate, what do I really want to promote more, or what do I want to promote less? And you can use this to do it. So you'll see that I haven't ended any of these in a 0, other than the one I'm not using. I haven't ended any of them in a 5. I've mixed them up, and that's what you want to do. We cover this more in the training area to really help you get going. So let me just come back just a second. I'll throw in just a few tags here, and I'll save it. Let's say social marketing, social media, content distribution, let's say. And my keywords, top SEOs, do content syndication. Let's just suppose that those are the two I'm going after here. Go ahead, save. And my campaign is now started. So you'll see here, pending setup. That means this is now gone to our setup staff, who is going to go through and create the additional titles, the additional descriptions, and they're going to spin everything and get everything kicked off for you. This can take anywhere from an hour to a few hours, but typically same business day. So for the purposes of this campaign, just so that way we don't send my staff off running setting this up, I'm going to go ahead and just delete it. But I'll open up one that's already going, so that way you can see what it looks like. All right, so let's look at one. Okay, so this was a case where we had already gotten one kicked off. And for those of you who may be leaning more toward the pro route or the light route, I can show you a little bit about what you would actually be creating. In this case, our setup team has done this, but in light and pro, you would be doing it. So you'll see here that you would be going in and adding a new description, splitting your tag sets up, and creating titles. So if I open one up just to give you an idea about what's involved, you create a description, and then now you're going to want to get it to where it can have its variances. So this is called syntax. So this means that at random, it's going to put different sentences together for me. And it does that automatically. You don't actually have to go in, do them one at a time. You create one, and then you'll spin it. Now you can either spin it on your own by hand, or there are plenty of tools out there, whether it's the Best Spinner, Rewrite Rocket, and maybe even some free tools that you can use. You'll take that, you'll copy and paste it into Notepad, which just removes any of the formatting, and then you'll copy and paste that into here. And then we have a validate function here, so I'll just click that so you can see. It says that it's been verified, which means that it's set up correctly. If you want to see what that looks like, you can even hit preview. So it's not complicated to do, it just comes down to your time. So let me go ahead and close that out. So again, on Pro and Lite, you'll be doing this yourself. If you're on Enterprise, we're going to do it for you. Once you've already gotten the campaign kicked off, you can come in and do several different things. So I'm going to click the Campaigns tab here. So this will show you that on this particular campaign, we were using Facebook, social news, and Twitter. So Facebook is telling me that it's already inactive, which means that it has reached its approximate promotion level, and Send is going to shut it off so that way it doesn't consume any more credits. 357 likes. Social news still looks like it's still going. These are still active. So it's still drip feeding the promotions of that content by making it naturally appear within the Send community area based on the desired rate of daily promotional maximum. So let me show you what I mean. So let's take social news here. So on StumbleUpon, I was wanting to get somewhere in the neighborhood of around 86, and it'll be kind of plus or minus. If I recall, in this campaign, we actually came in and had actually adjusted this one. But you'll come in and you'll have your maximum promotions and your daily max. You can raise these or lower these at any time. You can even pause the campaign if you've reached your level and you don't want to do any more, or you're consuming too many credits and you need to cut back a little bit here and there. No problem. You can pause the campaign. If you wanted to see the promotions that you got on StumbleUpon, you can do that. So this actually will show you that currently right now, Send has new members coming in. It's creating those social accounts, which is one thing that I didn't mention at the beginning. You will not need to go out to each social site and create an account. This is usually a dreadful action that most people want to avoid. Send will actually do that automatically. It'll maintain all of that for you, so you're not going to have to manage any of that, which is a blessing for most people who own a small business, especially if we're covering, I think as of next week, we're going to have something like 600 sites that we cover, including article modules that are getting ready to come out. Nobody wants to manage that on all those sites. So Send will do that.
That's a great feature.
Yeah, it's usually one that people charge a lot of additional money for. So you're not going to have to do that. So let me kind of mention just one more thing before we move on. You'll see here that there are multiple pages of actions that have taken place over a long period of time. If you wanted to export that, let's say to a separate file, for those of you that are more advanced users, we actually provide you with a CSV file where you can take all of those social links that have occurred and actually run them through an RSS directory type tool or other types of link building exercises. So you're getting valuable, real social links, not forced links through just high PR sites, which has been a common SEO practice. But you're getting valuable social links of people who have recommended you. So think of it as, it's building social layers upon social layers. So you could do that by just coming in here, and you'll see export query to a CSV file. You click that, puts it into Excel, and you have them all available. So that honestly covers, the bulk of getting things set up, running a campaign. As you can see, for an enterprise user, you're in and out in most cases in about 30 to 60 seconds. You just simply open up the content wherever it is on the web. You can copy and paste the title, copy paste the description, the tags, the keywords. You just copy paste that in, you set your promotional settings, and you're done. It's that simple. And then Send is just running that engine in the background. If you're a pro user, one of the things you can be doing, or light for that matter, is if you have content that is, let's say, consistently in the same niche or same genre, you can obviously always save those spun descriptions and titles, vary them a little bit, and then reuse them. You want to make sure, though, that they're still going to be fairly unique. But if you're using Lite or Pro, one of the questions we get is, well, how long should I expect to set up my campaigns? The truth is, it just simply depends on how fast you become in setting up the syntax. We spend in enterprise 20 to 30 minutes per campaign to set the client's content up right. And we do it with a very high level of spinning. But, some Lite and Pro members will have a tendency to start getting a little lazy because it does take a little bit of time, and you really want to make sure that that's done well. If you think that you're going to fall in that camp and you just think, hey, after the first or second time I'm not going to want to be doing that, then you can always upgrade to Enterprise or just go into Enterprise right from the get-go. So it's not a hard system to use. If you go through the training, which takes about an hour, you'll be ready to go in good shape. The trick, again, is to start off slowly and keep an eye on your credits. This will tell you how many credits you're burning through in a given day on average, which is really helpful. If you're not sure where you're burning credits, no problem. Just come in here, click on the square. I can actually pull up an example. So this will show you exactly how your credits are being spent. So it's really easy to use. You can just simply go in, make an adjustment, hit Shift F5, which deletes the cache. It'll reset your min credits, and you can get them in line. Again, we cover that all in the training. It's very easy. And that's really about as complex as it gets. Send is a great tool regardless of whether you're an expert or just starting out. But the key, no matter what you're doing on the web today, is you've got to be doing quality content as much as you can possibly produce. Google is using that as a function of relevance. You can't make a piece of content today, not do anything for 2 months, use Send and expect to be able to get on the page 1 results. It just doesn't work that way. You've got to be creating quality content, preferably using some keyword market research up front, as much actually as you can afford. It's like the blueprint in building a building. You would never go out, go buy the lumber, and start building a building until you had your blueprint first. Keyword research should be at the front end of what you're doing. Once you've got that, you started writing content, you've optimized your site well, then you're ready to start using Send. And if you run into any problems, you can contact the support desk, let them know what you're doing. Or if you're not sure how to get started, but you've watched all the training and you don't know what promotional levels to use or what modules to use, that's what we're there for. So you're going to get a great support network. We also have a forum available where you can find information. We have great training. We have free webinars that would otherwise be charging people a lot of money. We put on corporate webinars all the time with key intelligence that you're actually going to get for free. So there's a lot of benefit in becoming a member of SIN today.
Well, I really appreciate all that information, Dan. That was a very in-depth explanation, and I'd like to encourage it. Unless you want to be taking the time, Pro is a great way to go, and it is a low cost. But I mean, I would highly recommend getting at least the enterprise package. I mean, it makes it so much easier. I know everybody on the call is probably gearing towards that way anyway. But this is something that needs to be incorporated. He was talking about like Penguin and Panda. The game has changed. It's not as easy as it used to be. In fact, you can go to any type of Black Hat forum right now, and you're going to see a lot of people crying because there is no real simple way to just get things done and try to, outfox Google anymore. You have to be adding all of this stuff into your organic and SEO campaigns. You can't just have one thing. You got to be using everything, including social signals, are probably one of the most important things right now. But Dan,
and I'll tell you something else too that's kind of a hidden secret, and that is that there are also people on the call, for example, who do pay-per-click. Your quality score can actually be improved if you've got social popularity on that page. Most people don't know that, and Google's certainly not about to tell you because they obviously make 90% of their money from pay-per-click. So the key to this is that social signals, most people just think about it from, well, I have a blog. Well, you've got content likely in other places that, whether it's Web 2.0 properties like a Skidoo lens, great. You can run campaigns through SIN. If you have a blog, perfect. An e-commerce store, you still want to probably have a blog connected to that e-commerce store so you have more content for the search engines to gravitate on. But you can use it with e-commerce. If you have a forum you're trying to run, same thing. Videos on YouTube, pay-per-click. If you do email marketing, this is something not many people do. You can actually use HTML to actually have your social signals appear in the body of the email. If you're talking about increasing conversion, that's a fantastic way to do it. Or if you're going to send them to a special offer page, have that social popularity right up front. I mean, if somebody comes to a page and it doesn't say anybody likes it, what motivation do people have? Maybe they know you and maybe they like you, but what if you told them that, hey, 284 of your fellow peers have liked this on Facebook and 294 have liked it on Twitter? That's a motivating option for you right out of the gate to increase your conversion. So, you got to think widely that anywhere where your content is, social popularity is a must-have.
Dan, that's a really great point. This is Francis. I know I've been quiet on the call so far, but I just wanted to add in, a lot of our listeners know that I'm a copywriter, and as a copywriter, proof is very important, especially social proof. This is a great way. This is an amazing tool to get social proof, the endorsement of others in your network, beyond your network, and really pointing to your site. So aside from the whole benefit that you get from Google, which I know Brian talks a lot about, from my standpoint as a copywriter who uses words to sell, just being able to leverage that proof that you have from so many other people is so much more powerful. So this tool is an incredible way of doing that.
Right. Yeah, you're right. I mean, it comes down to the quality of the content. You've got to do that. And that's, another thing too that, I think Brian mentioned it. It's not as easy as it was, but truthfully, this comes down to quality, quality, quality. Quality content, quality research to get you ready, and then a quality system like SIN to help you jumpstart that popularity, and gives you a great leg to stand on at an affordable cost. But you're right, from a copywriter standpoint, what better thing than have a great message to say and also show that other people have appreciated it too.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you very much, Dan. I can't thank you enough for taking the time out of your day to tell everybody about this great tool. I know a lot of people are going to be able to jump in and start adding this to their marketing arsenal. And we just thank you very much. I appreciate everything. And we're looking forward to all the new ways to use Send as well. And Dan mentioned something that I want everybody to keep in mind when you're registering for Send and getting signed up for this, implementing it into your system. Be sure that you're taking advantage of all the free information that they're giving away. You know, one of the subjects just that he pointed out is Google Panda and Google Penguin. These guys are giving you very high-level information that most people charge thousands of dollars. And I know a lot of people listening on the call have already paid thousands of dollars to learn about SEO and certain things from different type gurus. These guys are giving it with you at no extra charge. So make sure you're taking advantage of all the good stuff, because these guys are basing the information they're giving you on facts, not just things that they're hearing about.
Right, very true.
Well, thanks a lot, Dan, and you have a great day. And we look forward to continuing to use this for our marketing campaigns in the future.
I appreciate it. Thanks a lot for having me.